opposite sex, same sex, opposite sex, whatever, I still say, all right. If, like you said, if you got there, you lost a bet. This is what we're talking about. Like Robert Kelly, Luis Gomez lost a bet. I'm assuming Lewis lost.
Yeah. And I hope it was something more drastic. Yeah.
Like if that's the win.
I hope it wasn't like a game of rock, scissors, paper. You know what I mean? I think it was something more. I hope it was something more substantial. Hey, if I lose this, I'll blow you. Rock.
Right.
Shit. Like, I hope it was something more substantial.
Not just like, a bet over the basketball draft or something. I can't imagine.
But still, in order to do that,
to get on your knees in front of a crowd of people, and like you say, both parties, Robert Kelly,
equal blame,
Gomez.
Because if I'm Robert Kelly, I may or may not take my dick out. Right?
Okay.
He gets down on his knees. If I take my dick out and he's still on his knees and ready to go, I tell him, hey, dude, totally kidding. You definitely don't have to blow me.
Yeah. Okay.
As a matter of fact,
you went there.
I would prefer that you don't. If we're really getting down to the nitty gritty, I would prefer, because you're my buddy.
Yeah.
So like, we're gonna be friends, I think, after this.
Hope.
But if you're my buddy,
might be
who
closer
blew
now.
me, and the people who watched it. Okay?
How does his wife, Roberts, ever?
What about Luis Gomez's wife?
I don't know if Lewis is married.
He's got a kid.
He's got a kid, but he was dating Kim Congdon. I don't know if they're still together.
Yeah.
So, you know what I mean? I don't know what their deal is. I know he's not married. I'll say that.
But
Robert's married happily. So now Lewis comes over for a barbecue.
But let's even go back to just the kids.
Okay.
So for me, okay. So I know Lewis is like, I'm teaching my kids that a bet's a bet. Yeah, you should also teach your kid.
Never renege on a bet.
Yeah.
All right.
That's not because I think he's a daughter. You should also teach your kids that hey, don't blow people when you lose a bet. Just say, I'm not going to pay that bet. Like, that's okay. People would understand.
Or don't bet that option. Pick something else.
Yeah.
Pick getting kicked in the nuts.
There's still a ton of weird things that you could do to somebody. You know, there was okay,
here's my guest host, the great Steve Simeone.
Hey, buddy.
Come on in. And we have Josh Wolf in studio. This is very exciting.
We're talking about...
Great set. I was watching you for a moment.
Steve Simeone, we're talking
killing
about...
it in the main room.
I love your T-shirt.
I love your T-shirt. And
hey, Eleanor, can you also introduce your guest and start the show at some point?
Okay, that's rude. We were already started. But anyway, yes, I will. Guys, it's the Comedy Store podcast. My guest co-host is the great Steve Simeone.
Yeah, I can't believe that I'm doing something Ingram normally does.
I'm so proud of you.
Yeah, I'm like, I don't know how to do
it's what it is.
He's
is
so
the polar
funny.
opposite.
Yeah.
Is I'm bringing positivity in here for the moment.
Yeah.
And then we have Josh Wolf. Yay.
You got double positive today.
Double positive. You know what? This is what I need.
Hey, guys, I don't want to be extra negative. But, Steve, can you put your water bottle on the floor? Because it's blocking the whole camera shot. All right.
As long as it was blocking me, that's a win for everybody.
Do I have to start over now?
If you want to, but no, you don't have to.
Okay, just quiet back there. I'm just kidding.
I mean,
I did see the big water bottle, and I thought about, but
I didn't know. I don't know.
I'm such a water bottle person that I was like,
I like that you still say water.
Oh, shit.
Water. How was your set?
Wonderful.
Yeah?
The main room's packed. It's fun. It's a
great
holiday.
Sebastian smashed.
Really?
Yeah. And I had to follow him. I was all nervous.
Dude, then you rode his wave.
Yeah,
I didn't know that, but you were killing when I just was in there.
Last night, and generally I don't come down just to watch.
Okay.
But last night, I saw a lineup, and the lineup went Sebastian, D'Elia, Theo Von, Joey Diaz. And I was
insane.
Like, I'm coming down.
Yep.
I'm coming down.
Sometimes I do that where I'm a comedy fan first.
Yeah.
That's why I love this place. And there's certain times where I'm like, I'm not even going to try to park in the lot. I'm going to either Uber over
I'll
walk halfway. And then
I've done it.
Walk halfway? Why only halfway?
Meaning park somewhere
Oh,
away
got it.
and
Yeah,
then
yeah,
walk.
down on Fairfax or something.
Yeah.
Because it's incredible. Like,
So good. And you know what? Because
Joey destroyed last night. Diaz.
I was
In
just
the
with
main
him
room?
in Ohio.
I saw him in the OR.
OR, yeah. He's super. I've known him for
Of course.
ever. And to see,
I think that's how we know him, through you.
maybe.
Something
we
like
first
that.
started coming around here
You
together.
know
you
him
were
from
here-
Seattle, right?
Yeah,
But you were here
Crazy.
before him.
I was here before him.
Yes.
Yeah. But like to see how he started, like I have a picture of him on stage at the Comedy Underground. He can't be more than 220 pounds in a 3-piece suit
I
Wow.
love
doing
it.
his stand-up.
And this
Vest, jacket, pants.
in Seattle or Colorado?
In Seattle.
Seattle.
In Seattle.
Because I know he did both.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And like, I remember the open mics with him and Brody. And
I love that you wore his shirt.
and to watch
A young Brody.
and by the way, a young Steve.
Steve.
Was he
yeah,
did he go by Steve then?
That's how I've always known him.
Steve
I
first.
always know. I still called him Steve. I've told you the story about when he changed his name.
Please.
No,
It's
please
Right? I've
tell
told you the
us.
story?
Sure.
Okay. So he got off stage after bombing at an open mic, like only Brody can bomb.
What was it like?
So what year is this?
Yeah, what year is it? What's his material? What's his look?
Shit. So I guess it's probably 95, 96 feels about right.
Okay.
And 95, because 96 he and I both left. So maybe 94. So first of all, he would just go up with jokes, and the jokes were never
Real jokes. Like
Jokey
joke
jokes?
jokes. Yeah, not like the
Not the
non-jokes we
statements.
knew him to tell, right?
Did he have his
Not-
cadence then?
Kind of.
Okay.
But he was scared of his cadence, and he was scared of that person. But I remember the first time I saw him snap on stage.
Yes.
And I had never seen him get laughs like this before. And he snapped, and he was like, "Listen, people, do you know how hard it is as a single man? I've had anxiety all day. Do you know how hard it is as a single man to shave your own back?" And then he goes, "I've got trouble spots." And he lifted up his back. And sure enough, there were 4 spots that were overgrown because he just couldn't get to them, right? So as comics, we're fucking dying, right? Dying. But the crowd was like, "What are we looking at?"
He was
So
a maniac on stage.
he started talking about, you
cried.
probably heard him talk about shaving his back.
Of course.
So that's when he started to bring in the shaving his back. And so there was one time, I told you when he brought that homeless clown on stage. That
Please
was
tell like
Yeah, because the
these
Comedy Store
stories-
podcast, we didn't know that.
Okay.
We didn't.
And then also they don't seem real, these stories.
okay. So well, how he changed the day he changed his name, he bombed only the way Brody could, and he
Do you remember any of those first generation Brody jokes?
don't
That's a
remember
terrific.
the jokes. I barely remember my own. You know what I
Right.
mean?
I get
but
it.
they were similar to what they were, not too far from just the facts.
Just off a little bit.
Just off a little bit.
And I'm imagining
trying
his
to punch
look.
it more.
Was he more
Oh, he had
like
such good hair.
Hair.
yeah,
good
yeah,
hair.
and
Good
like
hair.
I'm imagining him for whatever reason, like wearing Gap clothes
Little
with a
prepper,
shirt,
yep.
preppier,
Tucked in.
Yep.
Yep. Yep.
I remember him coming here and trying to showcase
Yeah.
early 90s.
Not good hair, shirt tucked in, and he got off stage one night after just eating shit, and he was like, "Steve Brody isn't funny," and I go, "You're funny, man." He goes, "No, yeah." He goes, "You know who's funny?" I go, "Who?" And he said, "Brody Stevens." I said, "Who's that?" And he said, "You'll see tomorrow."
Wow.
And he came down as the guy you know.
Yeah.
And we did a podcast once, he and I, at my house. It's the only podcast that I never released.
Okay.
For
Why?
a lot, because he snapped a little bit in a way that I said to him, because during the podcast, I could feel his energy shifting.
Oh,
And at
yeah.
one point, I had said to him, "Hey, do you ever get confused of where Steve and Brody blur a line, like where Steve ends and where Brody begins?" And he was like, "I don't remember Steve that much."
Oh my god.
Do you know what I mean? Like, I don't really remember how to be Steve.
Right.
But the podcast, he just snapped. And on the way out the door, I go, "Listen, man, I've known you a long time. And this podcast would get about 8 million downloads but I'm going to give you 2 days to think about if you want that out there.
Yeah.
I said, I know you're all about honesty and openness about who you
Yeah.
are and what your
He's
what your illness
always
is.
so open about
Yeah.
it.
But it was it was a different. I had never seen that like this part, and I've known him a long time.
Yeah.
And he called me the next day. He was like, "Do you have to put that out?" I said, "No, I don't have to
You're
put
a
that
good
out."
friend.
Very nice of you.
No,
yeah.
no. I would want that. We would all do that for each other.
Of course.
Right.
Of course.
But maybe my favorite story ever. So it was me, Joe Diaz, Brody Stevens, and a guy named Gavin Boyd, who I'm still friends with. Gavin I've known for.
I don't
and
remember who I heard talk about him, but I've heard.
He used to come down around here.
Okay.
He used to come down around here.
Okay.
And so we were in Seattle, and I think we need to get to Olympia, and we were in Brody's car, and Brody was like, "It's an hour and 10 minutes," and Joey was like, "It's 45 minutes."
Naturally.
And Brody was like,
He was always speeded up.
Oh,
He was
Brody.
always a little more speeded up than the rest of us.
Brody goes, no, it's Howie. And Joey goes, let me drive. So Joey's jumping curbs.
Yeah,
He's going the wrong way down one-way
Ran as
streets.
easy in La Jolla.
But
Yeah.
we got down there in about 45, 50 minutes.
Wow.
Brody jumps out of the car, slams the door, because he was in the back seat freaking out the whole fucking ride. Slams the door, and he goes, I do not live my life this way.
Taking a moment. I love it.
I do not live my life this way. He was so
Mad.
mad.
Oh, yeah.
But you know,
And he gets like that. He always got like that. Like he would
Yes.
get.
Was he going for a
so
laugh
mad.
when he said that, though?
but you know the
Because
in between. You know the in between of his mad,
Yes.
where he was mad but also going for the laugh.
Yes.
Yeah, you're not sure if it's
Like everything became art. Everything
Yes.
was about the moment
Yes.
with Brody.
Yeah.
Yes. I don't
I mean,
know.
that's the perfect line. Like, if that was a scene in a movie, slammed, I could not live my life this
Come on,
way.
it was so good. I mean, and the fact that Joey was driving, and I feel so lucky to have started with them because they both taught me so much just from watching
that's-
their evolution.
Well, I would say they're both geniuses from different approaches to stand-up.
sure.
Like, Brody created this almost magical, surreal thing with his comedy where it was part completely honest but also part character. Like, I
Yeah.
never knew when Brody was being serious.
None of us did.
And then Joey is just completely like,
Yeah,
I'm going to just tell you what happened.
But I would say that yes, their material is polar opposite, but how they found that is the same. So how they found it was they both were never funny until they went off script and went off on stage.
Right.
So they touched the moment.
And Joey,
So they were
Joey
in the
would,
moment.
Yes,
In the moment, yeah.
Joey would tell jokes. Huh.
Yeah.
But you know when he gets mad,
Sure.
his face
It's the greatest thing ever. It's a force of nature.
right, and so you could see him slowly start to find that,
Yeah. Oh,
and
man.
just be like, oh, so really, I just need to be me, and this anger and this edge, and just because what I say and how I say it is funny, but I'm also so likable when I do it. It's
Yes.
crazy, right?
Yeah, 'cause
Yes.
there was something so, no matter what Brody would flip out or whatever,
Mm-hmm.
you would be like, but I like this guy.
Yeah, that's where Joey and Brody
And
are
Joey,
very
too, yeah,
similar
Joey.
that way.
To me, I know
I wasn't
there's
afraid of them.
no.
I
It was so enjoyable.
And
They were
honest and in the
endearing.
moment and
Yes.
present
Yeah.
and letting you in. And when they went off, when their inhibitions and when that little whatever censor they started comedy with,
Yeah.
when that went away and they just became them,
Yeah.
they were funnier than any of us. When
Yeah,
they
it's
started
incredible.
writing material and try to like Joey, I remember Joey used to end his set on a street joke.
Wow.
Oh, wow.
And but when Joe found Joe, look, I would tell you this: 15 minutes, not an hour, 15 minutes, and if you're going to tell me at their peak, at the best 15 minutes, who blows up that room more than anybody? And I tell you, Joey Diaz.
Joey Diaz, yeah.
Yeah.
It's a force of nature.
For 15 minutes. Now his hour isn't nonstop like that, but and his hour is great. I'm not saying, but
Of course.
for 15
It's
minutes,
like watching a hurricane.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
especially in that room,
Because
not
he's
as much
cramped.
that
No, the
room.
OR.
The OR. 15 minutes in there. 15 minutes of him at peak Joe Diaz. I would
Remember his birthday show when it's Joe Diaz and it's all his fans?
Yes.
Oh, my God.
Yeah.
I said, Joey, you got to do an hour in there. You got to do your next
special in there. Yeah.
Because he erupts. He feels so comfortable in there. He loves that room so much, but works so hard to get in it that if you could feel it when he's on stage.
But plus I also feel like he's like
everything
fireworks.
Yeah.
Where it's like you got to see them in person.
Right.
Like there's same thing with Brody.
Yeah.
Like when you were in the room with Brody, when you're in the room with Joey Diaz, you're part of it. It's kinetic. It's real. It's the greatest thing.
Yeah. Brody, I remember that podcast I had called First Five.
No.
Me and my friend Lexi had this podcast. This was years ago, like maybe like 8-9 years ago. And we wanted to do the first 5 minutes you ever wrote or performed of stand-up. So you had to come on and do your first 5 minutes. We used to do a show about it at the Improv. Long time ago. But anyway, 8-9 years ago.
Yeah.
So I asked Brody, I go, hey, Brody, because Lexi was in love with him, my co-host, Lexi Shoemaker. And she was in love with him. She's like, if you get Brody, it'll be everything. So I
If you
go,
get Brody, I'll have Luis Gomez blow Robert Kelly. Did you see that
it's
video?
a bet. We'll get into that in a second.
Oh, yeah.
Hold on. We'll get it.
You're
I
not
thought he
being
had
serious.
seen it.
You guys
It's
are-
bad.
Okay, we'll get to it.
we'll
I
get
don't
it.
wanna even wanna
One
know.
second.
I don't need, there's certain things I don't need to know.
First of all, he just put his stole on. Okay? That's what you did to this poor Catholic child. I'm sorry, Steve.
I don't.
Yeah.
Well, this is what happened. So we asked Brody, and then, like I said, it was 8-9 years ago. He's still in it.
His face is still a little. It's okay, buddy. All right.
This was Brody's response. I go, look, we talk about your first 5 minutes of stand up, and he goes, I'm still doing that. I was like, oh shit. I was like, oh shit. So we can't. But now let's get to.
I do want to ask both of you because I remember the first joke I ever told on stage.
You do. See, that's what I'm saying.
I don't
Like,
remember the first 5. I remember the first joke. I remember.
some people have video. Ari had video. Dice had video.
My mom
Sean
probably has
had
video.
And it's all on our podcast.
That's
We just
incredible.
didn't have any followers, so nobody paid attention.
You should re-release
yeah,
They're
those.
still on. They're still on. Tiffany Haddish was on it.
You
I
should
mean,
definitely.
Leslie Jones did
Biggest
it.
stars in Hollywood now.
It was amazing. Yeah.
My first joke, I was 15. My parents had to drive me. It was an open mic in Northampton, Massachusetts at a place called the Iron Horse.
Cool parents.
That's hilarious.
And because my dad asked me, what do you want to do, man? And I go, I saw this stand-up on TV, and I'd like to try it.
So cool.
And he said, they both said, I think you'll be really good.
Can you
and
imagine?
We'll give you a ride. Just, let us know what it's going to be.
Were they Stepford parents? Like, how did you?
You know what's
doesn't even make
crazy
sense.
is that my parents never once, the only time my dad ever questioned my choice of what to do is when I was a single dad. I had the 3 kids in
Amazing.
one room, right?
It's incredible.
And
Always my favorite person because of that.
Yes.
by the way.
my dad
Me
walked
too.
into the apartment, and one of those tiny little apartments where
Yeah,
the kitchen
yeah.
was a living room, was a dining room,
Yeah.
and there was toys all over the place, and like sleeping bags and just, dishes and shit. First thing he walked in, he looks at me and he goes, you're about this close to being Puerto Rican.
Your dad.
Okay. That's a good guy. I get it.
He went for the laugh.
Yeah, he went for the laugh, and he said, "Listen, your mom and I have always supported your dream. We think it's fantastic. We love how hard you've been pursuing it. You are now a single parent in charge of 3 kids."
Right.
He said to me, "When does your dream become selfish?" At some point.
That's a great question.
I had never thought of that question.
Yeah,
before.
that's a great question.
He said, "At some point, these kids," he said, "they're young enough now where it doesn't matter.
Right.
But at some point, they're going to need stuff. They're going to want stuff.
Yeah.
At what point are you going to say to yourself, it's not just me anymore?"
Right.
And it was that's the only time. And to me, that wasn't
Like an
even
aha moment.
Yeah.
Like, oh shit.
But it wasn't even him telling me you shouldn't do it he was just saying, be aware
It's a good dad.
that you could
right.
do some damage here.
Yeah.
If you don't,
Straighten up.
get out of this one room pretty soon. Yeah.
How much longer did it take for your career to start to take off after that?
Well, what's interesting is I had a long conversation with myself that night.
Okay.
And so I started to weigh, and there's basically what it came down to was 2 things. One, I wasn't trained to get a job that was really going to change my situation that much.
Right.
Right?
Okay. Makes sense.
Not
Works.
that much. What am I going to do? 2, I was like, I'm gonna give it a couple more years, and he said, call me and let me know, and he said why, and I said, I just don't want them. I don't think it's terrible for them to see me trying and not quitting. I don't think it's terrible for them to realize that you can still struggle and be happy. Now, I'm not saying they want that for their whole life, but
I think they're great lessons.
For them,
I think they're lessons nobody gets taught about persistence, giving up, and then also like what's really important. I'm sure there was more love in that one room than any
anywhere.
of these mansions in Bel Air.
Honey,
Honey, Lupita will be at your game to cheer you. You know what I mean? Like,
well, we had to figure out how to have fun without money.
Yeah.
And that is sometimes
that's
the
real
most
fun.
That's
That's real
that's
fun.
You know what
Yeah.
when we couldn't afford a to go to like amusement parks or whatever. So I used to put them in the trunk of my Saturn, and I would
No.
drive around empty parking lots at night with them in the trunk.
They must have loved it.
Oh, it was so.
Now they're Mexican? What are you doing?
I didn't smuggle them into Ralph's.
Oh,
I'm
sorry.
just
Smuggle.
yeah, but it was. I agree with you. Like they figured out how to have fun without needing stuff.
Exactly.
Yeah, and realizing that if you have each other, you have everything.
That's
what
how I
a
grew
ride
up.
your kids went on. That's how I grew up too.
That's how we all grew
Yeah.
up, right?
Yeah.
Like, I don't know a whole lot of comics who grew up with a ton of money.
Oh, I do. But yeah.
A bunch of them? Really?
Yeah, not a ton, but like to me, you guys had money.
Sure.
I mean, you
Yeah,
know, he
suburbs.
lived in the suburbs.
Yeah.
That's like I would think he was a wealthy.
Where did you grow up?
South Philly.
Oh, not the suburbs.
No.
Dude, you know what's really funny though? The
10 kids
houses,
in a 3-bedroom row home.
but those cost more money than the houses we
Now.
grew up in.
Woo,
Like things
woo.
change. Like the real estate, it's so
My
crazy.
mom
It's so expensive
just-
there.
10 kids?
Yeah,
Your parents?
single parent.
Oh, she didn't have cable, or?
Probably not. I remember having Prism at one point, but it was stolen. Anyway,
No, just splice it. Splice it.
you steal from the neighbor's house. What? But no, it was. That's what I'm saying. Like we had fun. There was never, we couldn't afford a lot of things.
Yeah.
Even like school trips, things like that were like cut down. The older half had a completely different life. 'Cause
Older
my
half
parents-
of your.
my brothers and sisters,
Right.
So the
because my
first
parents were
5 or
together.
whatever.
Yeah.
Okay.
So like sometimes Karen will be like, "I went to an Elvis concert," and I'm like, "What? I never went to a concert."
Are you
I
like,
never had
you
money.
old bitch?
Right.
How old are you? Shit, an Elvis concert. Did you watch
She was
Babe Ruth hit play? The fuck, did you chop trees down with Paul Bunyan too? The fuck?
She was 8 years old. How crazy is that?
Damn, an Elvis concert.
That's
Jimmy
spoiled.
Dorsey sang her a song, Sweet 16.
We listened to Frankie Valli records at her party.
If she hears this, she'll kill me. She'll kill me.
Dude, the funniest Rodney Dangerfield joke I ever heard was he was talking about his mother-in-law. I'll tell you, she was old. She was so old, George Washington got off on her birthday. She to this day,
Oh
it's
my God! I hope
funniest
she
joke.
don't know how to listen to this.
I didn't say that about it. I just
Kidding.
quoted
I'm
Rod-
kidding.
I
Her
don't
Her
wanna
sister's
hurt
not even
anybody.
watching talkies yet.
No, you're right. She's still watching. Oh my God! Now I'm joining in. I'm in so much trouble. She'll kick the shit out of all three of us.
She doesn't know what a podcast is.
Yeah,
Puppy,
she
is that
does.
Tex Ritter's son? the talkies is the funniest thing. Go ask Nucky Thompson for a job. Dude, that guy with half a face is still to this day my favorite person in the history
Oh
of
my
drama.
God.
I love
Nucky
you.
Thompson.
Thank you for that.
Wow.
Thompson. Anyway,
Super
my
funny.
mom knew him. So, but that's what I'm saying. Like my dad bought them things. Like
Yeah.
he bought them things like that. Like I never went to a concert. I don't think my dad ever bought me anything.
Do you feel like you missed out though?
No. I feel like I don't know. It hurt them more when my parents
lost
split up.
Because you never had anything.
Yeah, so
Yeah,
we
yeah,
didn't,
yeah.
I'm sorry,
That's
we
all
didn't
right.
know from that. So it was like, oh, okay, same shit, different day. Just
Opposite
have to
for me.
work at the typewriter store.
Opposite. I grew up, zero money. We didn't have a car, nothing, right?
Same.
until my dad, when I was a sophomore in high school, my dad decided to get a job. And my mom had just been the only one working.
Okay.
And so, for whatever reasons, man,
Just following a dream?
My dad, as he's gotten older, he never really was an I love you guy.
Mm-hmm.
It's so many things that I go look back, but like I was always really mad at him, and he was not an I love you guy. But as I look back, you know what he did? He showed up at everything. That was he just was not an emotional guy.
Yeah.
But it didn't register.
People say I love you in different ways.
Yeah. He was at everything.
Yeah.
He was in those stands. He was in the auditorium. He was there.
That's
Yeah.
awesome.
And that I didn't register with me until like, wow, that now when I was a parent, I was like, that took a lot for him to be there. Now he didn't have a job, so he better fucking be there. but when I was a sophomore, it was the opposite for me. We finally got a car, and like my older brothers were out of the house, and it was now not only did we making more money, but I was the only one there.
So
that's
you were there.
great.
So
How many other brothers?
I have 3 older brothers.
Okay.
So people have farted in my mouth for a long time.
Trust
The youngest is always the best.
Yeah.
Like my younger brother's the
By the way,
winner.
that's
Or you have to be the
still-
winner in your family, right?
It's interesting. You learn to persevere.
Yeah, my younger brother's
That
the
still
winner.
happens. Do you people ever grow out of that? I mean, I'm just asking.
Farting in the mouth?
Yeah.
No, but I'll pit up more of a fight now. And they're a little older than me.
We break balls. Like when I get together,
Aw.
like we'll laugh like this.
My
when we're
brothers
hanging
are
out with my brother.
monsters.
It's the greatest. There's nothing better than family laughs.
Yeah.
And that's what I was picking up. Like when you were talking about the little apartment and stuff. Like I didn't realize how much I had until I've been this lonely dude in LA without anybody. Where I'm like, what I wouldn't do
To just be.
to have somebody to argue over what we're going to get on a pizza.
Right.
And then just sit in and watch a basketball game.
Yeah.
Like that. If we did that as kids, that's like,
It
it was great because everybody was
Yes.
there.
Yes.
We're like, we're getting pizza. I brought a pizza tonight, and I just brought it here because I didn't have anybody. Share it with. I swear to God, because I wanted the joy. Like one of my favorite things in life is carrying that pizza box to make sure it doesn't get messed up. And then people.
If anybody's like wondering, should I get into comedy?
No, do not.
No.
It's very lonely.
Listen, we're like the lonely guy. You remember that Steve Martin movie? We used to watch that on a loop, man. When he would pretend to
God.
dance with people. Charles Grodin. I
how
can't
great
take
was so-
naps because then I wake up and I realize I'm me again.
You know what though?
Fucking brilliant, man. That's
The best the thing about being a comic though is even if when you meet a comic that you've never even met before,
yeah.
there is a kindred spirit
Immediate connection.
Yeah.
because you know what they've been through.
Yep.
You know what it takes to go through that.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know what I mean? Like if there are comics in a room and it's a party, I'm gravitating towards the comic.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, but real comics. Like today, I met a comic, and she was like, "Oh yeah, I used to do stand up," and I'm like,
Yeah.
"Wait, what?" And then she was like, "Yeah, like all the time at the Comedy Store," and I'm like, "What?" And me and Annie Letterman were just looking at her like, "When?
Yeah.
Like where? Like how?" And she was like, "This once in a while in the belly room," and I was like, "Just." Go in the pool.
Yeah.
Never talk to us.
Yeah,
again.
yeah.
We don't like you.
Yeah.
We were so angry. Like you can't be a sometimer around.
It's so interesting.
But it is interesting when you do, like when you're at a party or whatever, like especially if I'm at another club sometimes and I see certain comics that I just connect with, I just gravitate toward. Yeah, just go here because, like you said, you just feel lonely. You feel no one gets you. But around comics, they'll get you because they know how fucked up things are.
Well, they know how fucked up they are.
Yeah.
So
And then also,
Like, I get the pizza thing.
the strength of
I haven't ordered a
character,
pizza
though.
in years.
yeah, a full pie. It just tastes better.
No idea.
I brought it up here.
I get a slice and I walk by myself from Mulberry Street.
I bet the gold makes the chocolate taste terrible. Just see me laying in bed tomorrow holding a sparkler.
with what fucking Uncle Sam had on.
I'm a Yankee dandy.
America.
Yeah, you just with one single firecracker off your balcony. That's it.
Were you firecracker kids? Did you guys play?
I was.
Oh, yeah, me too.
I still
Philadelphia, we have to be.
We weren't firecracker kids, but we did light shit on fire.
Okay.
Does
I
that
like
count?
where you're going.
Breaking
Yes.
the law.
Yeah,
breaking the law.
Definitely lit like any kind of bug. Like you remember when there used to be caterpillars on trees?
Sure.
Oh
You
yeah.
remember in the Northeast, especially.
Why
That's
do
an
you
East
say,
Coast
do you
thing.
remember?
Because I
Is
don't.
it
It's
not-
not a thing anymore.
They're still back there.
Oh, are they?
Oh, yeah,
Yeah.
because my friend just put a video up of him playing with a caterpillar.
We
and I
used to
was
just
so
put them
I was
all
like,
in
oh
a
my God, I
pile
forgot about
and
those.
light those motherfuckers on
Okay.
fire.
Inappropriate.
Is that inappropriate? Is that because we were?
How old were you? Like 11?
Yeah.
That
Oh,
age?
that's supposed. We used to cut
I
worms in
think I
half.
was 25.
Somebody told us.
Cut
Somebody
worms
told
in
us
half.
if you cut the worm in half, they just grow back. So we wanted to see if that was real. So now there's all these dead worms. So we just cut
Well, this one's not. Well, let's try another one. No,
Guess this is a weird one.
Let's try it with your penis. What?
I
No.
do want to know what your first jokes were.
Oh, I think I gravitated toward making fun of my dad, typewriter store stuff, because that was, or maybe Catholic school. I can't remember which one. I can remember 2 jokes.
Where was it?
Where I first did it?
Yeah.
In the belly room.
Your first time doing stand up was here.
Oh, yeah. First, the West Side.
West Side Theater.
Yeah, because Adam Barnhart and Cynthia Levin.
Adam Barnhart.
2 of my favorite people.
Oh my God.
Adam was because when I first started stand up, first of all, I'm a waitress all these years. I know
Yeah.
You
all
know
I know
everybody.
is comics.
Yeah.
And then I'm like, who would I not be most embarrassed to go up in front of?
Yeah.
Because but I was so close with them because Adam ran a show here for years.
Upstairs.
Yeah, and Cynthia, and he still does, I believe. But Cynthia was here all
Does
the
he?
time. I think he's still here every other Sunday. Yeah, something like
does
that.
he still have those insane eyes where you look at him, you're like,
It's the best.
Yeah.
Yeah. He's
Dude.
so fucking funny. He's too honest. It's
Yes.
like the best. I'm obsessed
Always
with him.
so
Yeah.
honest.
So anyway, so I was really close with him as a waitress and really close with Cynthia because Cynthia used to date Freddie Soto. So that's how I knew them first. Like they were my first kind of friends. So they were doing 2 half hours each at that West Side Theater, and they let me open. So I just told stories about my dad's typewriter store. I think when he told me to swab the deck, which I didn't know what that meant. So I had to call my mom at work.
How many years had you been at the Comedy
Yeah.
Store, though, before you started to do stand-up?
12 years.
Yeah, so you
Then
had
I
such
left
a...
for a year and a half and came back as a comic. So that's mental patient 101.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You
no problem.
also have seen. So what year did you start here?
Waitressing,
Yeah.
93.
So
Everybody.
Yeah.
You think of it I mean,
That's incredible.
the greatest, the worst, the medium, the ones you love that never go anywhere.
I was going to ask you about that. Was there anybody since you got here that you were like, they should have made it and they didn't?
Steve Pearl was one of my favorite comics when I first started.
yeah.
I used to pee my pants. Everyone fights me on this, but me and Jeff Chetty were the only 2 that were obsessed.
You know who else?
Wow.
But there's so
AJ
many.
Jamal.
AJ Jamal, Mike Ricca, these were the funniest guys when I started.
AJ Jamal.
AJ was hilarious. I believe AJ has a cartoon or something.
Does he? AJ Jamal used to make me laugh.
he makes money.
Oh yeah,
Good.
Did
I
you ever see
opened
AJ
for
Jamal?
I saw him destroy on a Tuesday once.
Dude,
Wreck.
Black
destroyed.
Chocolate,
Wreck.
unbelievable.
Destroy.
Wreck.
I would scream laughing at
Yeah.
AJ Jamal. One of my absolute favorites. Yeah,
I
you're
remember.
right.
I remember when also. You know, I got to tell you. I remember when Galern first started coming
Oh.
out, and I
love
was like,
Galern.
We were
This
obsessed
dude-
with Galern. I'm
Yeah.
still obsessed with
Yeah,
Galern.
he's great.
I was like, this dude is a joke machine.
We-
Machine.
A month ago, upstairs in the OR, screaming, falling out of the bucket seats,
And by the way, he has zero fucks to give.
which is amazing.
We'll say, and always has
He's
been
a
like
father.
that. We'll
he's a
say
teacher.
whatever about, and you don't expect that filth to come out of his mouth, and it's just so funny because it just drips very slowly, drips right out.
So I could be whatever I want.
Yeah,
I could be president. Hold on a second.
yeah. No. By the way, I was talking to him on the phone once, and he was teaching. So Jason teaches,
Amazing.
right? He's in class. He's teaching.
He was in the classroom on the phone with you?
Okay, because we were.
It's like special ed.
they were. Yeah, they were.
Teachers.
They were taking a test.
Okay.
And he was like, "What's going on? What's going on, Wolfie?" I always calls me Wolfie. "What's going on, Wolfie?" I go, "We were developing a show together. We're talking about the show." And he goes, "Hold on a second." And he goes, "Maria." How many times did I tell you can't bring your baby to class? I know it's a test, but you got to find a babysitter. Okay. Yeah, everybody, no kids. Sorry about that. I'm like,
Was he being serious? Or that was a joke.
No, I go. Do you need to go? He was like, nah, this happens every day.
How come you guys don't do that as a
His
show?
whole cartoon was based
That's
on
what
it.
it was. That's what the cartoon was.
It was all based on it.
Yeah.
And nobody made that?
Hey, Mr. G.
They
it was my
tried-
favorite.
they tried a
animated
couple
it.
times.
They a
I
couple
think for
times.
2 or 3 years with my buddies Brad and Tom.
Yeah, and then I got Lauren Peltz's husband involved.
Yeah. Oh, I have
Danny
my friend
Fishman.
Lauren Peltz.
You have Josh Wolf's on? Did you tell him I have a crush on him? I'm like, no, you haven't fully transitioned yet, so I didn't tell him. She gets so mad when I say that. Well, I'm not a girl. I'm a girl. Really? You got to tell your Adam's apple that. You got
And your mustache.
mustache. She had a beard. Freddie Soto used to break her balls.
I remember that shit.
One time she was Dice when I was dating Andrew. We were all at Andrew's house fucking around. Right? I think I had Max and Dylan, but Freddie and Lauren, we're all just hanging out. And Andrew calls. He's like, "What are you doing?" And I was like, "Oh, Lauren and Freddie are here." And he's like, "Oh, what's Freddie doing?" I said, "Well, Lauren's teaching him how to shave." Andrew almost threw up. He was like, "Are you serious?"
By the way, I mean, if we're talking about people who would have or should have been huge, tragedy aside, Freddie Soto. So for me, Freddie was the first one of us who got it.
Yeah.
Who figured it. He was the first one of us where it clicked. And it clicked earlier for him than it did for all of us. And he was the first one of us where I remember looking at him and he was just talking about his life.
Yep.
Just his family.
Just his family. And as soon as he made his dad's face and voice, you were like, oh, this is a stick of dynamite ready to go off. Did you ever see him?
Oh, yeah.
And so he, to me, was, if you haven't seen any Freddie Soto on YouTube.
I tried to post it on his birthday, but this year I didn't. I was it just hurt too much still. It's weird.
And such a nice man.
Get so mad that it's
such a nice man. But like his stand-up was so next level early on.
Early.
He had figured that out way earlier.
Yeah,
than
and he
most
was
of us.
almost like the rest of comedy in general, not just comedians on their own personal journey, but he was like ahead of his time just in terms of how he approached stand-up. Where
Sure.
it was more
Yes.
one-man shows,
Yes.
storytelling.
Yeah, he
like
loved
when he would
that.
do that thing with his drunk grandfather or whatever, saying how much he loved him.
Give me some money.
Yeah,
He did.
I want a hamburger.
yeah.
Like, it was just so silly. It's like, I give you $100. Like, it was just the dumbest
But he went
things
real
that he
life.
would make him say.
Yeah.
He went real life before most of us went real life.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Right?
Oh, absolutely. Well, I guess from what I saw, yeah. So,
Yeah.
like, I was watching comics. Everybody had a different approach, and that's what I love. People that would always come in and try new things. Like, it wasn't always the same. When you see comics doing the same 20 minutes, 15 minutes over and over again, it's infuriating.
Yep.
So there was like Freddie, there was Ricka. They would always try new shit. Even like Kim Tavares, she would always
Yeah.
Sherry Shepherd.
Yo,
Aretha Jones.
What was her name?
Cynthia Levin.
No,
like,
short Hispanic woman, big.
Marilyn
Marilyn
Martinez.
Martinez.
Loved her.
When she
Marilyn
was a
killed
sex
it.
operator, she was like, I wet my pussy because I
Yeah.
spilled a Coke on my cat.
She was also one of the nicest women.
Sweetheart.
Sweetest. Yeah.
But
Sweetheart.
she would wreck. There were some real.
Mitzi would go crazy watching her. She was in a moo on the stage
Yes.
in the main room.
Yes.
Mitzi would throw herself around the room.
Do you, when she passed me, this is she.
Mitzi.
Yes.
Yeah.
So she was in that chair, and you just wanted to see the finger.
Of course.
The finger calling you over.
The long yellow nail.
Yeah. And you just wanted to see the finger. And not only that, by the way, if you were on stage after somebody that she called over to the chair, your set
you're
was
done.
fucked.
Oh, yeah.
You almost hoped that the person in front of you
Yeah,
shit to bed.
they just got the Carson seat
because then
pulled to the couch.
she's not listening anymore.
Yeah.
Right? So she calls me over. She sits me down and she goes, "You're really funny." And I said, "Thank you." And she said, and you're handsome like a
Oh,
young
yeah.
Steve Gutenberg. And I was like, thank you.
Oh
Yeah,
my!
is that a-
Mahoney?
So much better
Great
looking
is that Steve Gutenberg?
so much better looking than him.
Dude, honest to God, I worked
See?
when I was 18. When I was 18 years old, I worked in this pizzeria, and this guy Cristofaro was from Sicily, and he was very intimidating.
Okay,
Yeah.
like good looking.
You know, he was just intimidating. He
I
had a
pull my
short
pants
fuse.
down.
I know, that was weird.
He had a short
hot.
fuse, and like he would
Italian,
get into
huh?
it. Yeah, but then he goes like he would just start laughing at me or something like, and I'm trying. I was getting nervous around him and stuff, and he would just start laughing. And then he was like, "Stefano, you know who you remind me of? You know who you look like?" I finally put my finger on it, and I'm like, waiting for it.
Yeah.
18-year-old
comes.
kid like who? He was like
Confidence is here.
Yeah, exactly. He's like,
Bruce Willis.
Yeah, that's what I'm like. It's gonna be Sly, right?
Yeah.
He goes,
Hey.
Donnie DeVito. I'm 18 years old. He goes, you
Was that your
look like a young Donnie DeVito.
Not even Danny DeVito. His brother Don.
Donnie.
He'll sell carpets.
You're in the DeVito family, but not the famous one.
Not in front of the camera.
Why do people get the
Danny
wrong
DeVito. At least
That's
you got
not good.
Gutenberg.
Yeah.
Please.
Danny DeVito's a tough one.
Oh, bro. Especially when you're a teenager and you're like,
Yeah.
I was like, you were Stallone.
Yeah, it's got to be something
Something
good,
happened.
right? Yeah, and what if you were you like, which part? Just the whole thing, the whole.
Ugh.
Dude, how many times did you have to showcase for Mitzi?
Yeah.
Because I think I was here the
Steve.
night
Thank
you got passed. Because I
I
remember
for
you and
sure
Joey
was.
Diaz talking right at this back door, like right sort of there.
Feels like I think 3 times.
Yeah. Well, I thought. Yeah. I remember you being here.
Yeah, I
How
think-
about being passed as a non-paid? Did you ever get that, or were you just getting on other shows here?
You mean before she passed me?
Yeah.
No, I wasn't getting
Like
on other
vaguely,
shows.
maybe it was
no,
just
Kathy
hanging
Lewis.
out. Okay.
I'm on Kathy's show, a bunch of Kathy's shows, and then Mitzi, when she said, "I want you to be a doorman," I took it because I didn't know any better as an insult,
Okay.
and that because I was like, well, I thought I'm you come in young and
Yeah.
like, why do I got to work
Like,
the
no,
fuck?
I'm supposed to get a deal.
Yeah, what
next
do I?
week,
Why,
right?
why am I working? And so
it's
I
the
talked
90s.
to, of all people, this is not the guy to go to for advice, but at the time I didn't know any better. I went to Wheels Paris.
Yeah.
Hold on, Dave, I have to call you back.
Let me call the president of show business.
Exactly.
What the fuck?
President Bush, I gotta go.
Yeah, I invented comedy and
Yeah.
Adorable.
what? Jesus, adorable.
We just called him Coach. When he told me that, I
No,
went,
He called. What do you mean?
this is what happened. He said he played football for Florida
I remember
State.
that. Yeah,
He told you that?
I remember him talking. By the way, Ralphie May also told me he had 3 scholarship offers, but he got bad knees. I'm like, did you eat the knees? Is that what
Yeah.
you mean? Bad knees? You ate bad knees? You ate too many bad knees, or
Bad Knees. Larry Bad Knees?
Yeah.
But so he said he played for Florida State. So Freddie was a big college ball, and they don't watch college ball, and was obsessed and knew a lot about it. At the time, they were living in Crest Hill together, and so Freddie was like, "Oh, you played for Florida State? That's amazing. What? Wait, what year was that? What was the coach's name? Kind of like just just nice,
Yeah.
not accusatory, not anything other than, oh shit, what year were
What year?
you on this team?
Right.
You know? And he goes, yeah, we just called him coach.
So what was his advice to you as a young comic?
It
So
actually
just call him coach.
what he told me actually made
He
sense.
gave me a lot of good advice, actually.
and it wasn't the
did.
advice as a
He
comic,
was
but he
good.
said
He
to
is
me,
good.
he's a good guy.
Yes.
He said to me,
He just bullshits a lot.
this is where you learn. You learn by watching the best in the world.
Mm-hmm.
She puts people there who she wants them to sit and learn.
Yes.
And soak it in.
Yes.
And so don't take it as an insult. It's a compliment.
Yes, because I was going to say, when you brought up the point when if Mitzi called somebody over,
Yeah.
and now you had to follow that, and she's not paying attention to you, whoever was showcasing. But in Mitzi's eyes, it's like, well, if you're good, you're going to come back. I'm going to see you again. This takes forever.
Yeah.
When I was her assistant, she told me it took 25 years to become great. And I remember I was like 3 years in, and I'm like, I'm great now.
Yeah.
I'm like, what are you talking about,
listen, lady?
Hey, Doc, what kind of meds is she on? Like 25 years, but now I agree with her.
Yeah, me too.
Like if you look at all the people that are killing it now, they've all put 25 years in.
Yeah.
There's no shortcuts.
There's no shortcuts. That's the problem. That's the problem with people like a Wheels. They always looked for the shortcuts, even though they saw that it isn't a shortcut.
No.
They saw what was going on.
It's the same people who, when you talk about the people who do the same 15 minutes, you're not getting better. You're not getting better, and you're a slave to the laugh.
Right.
Because you
That's
know
a good
those
way to put it.
You know those 15 minutes.
You never take any chances outside of
And
that.
we all know the only way to get great is to fail. The only way to get great is to try new things. And the scary thing for us as comics is, look, we're not musicians. We don't get to go into the recording studio for 3 months and make it perfect before anyone hears it.
Right.
We have to do it in front of you.
Yep.
And there's a certain amount of courage that takes, especially, I would say, honestly, not for somebody top of the game. So not for like a Chappelle or a Rogan, or there are people that are going to like.
Again, 25 years in.
Right.
Easily.
But somebody who's kind of well known, right? Who gets on this stage and has to try new material, and there are people coming in from out of town.
Yep.
And if they suck, those people who saw them for the first time are never seeing them again.
Yeah.
They're never. I saw him. He
That's
sucked.
why I try to do chunks of it.
What?
That's what they say. I saw him. He sucked.
Right.
That's it.
Exactly.
Yeah, like that's why I won't just go, all right, I'm just going to go brand new. Ari does that sometimes.
Yeah.
Ari will just be like, all new, 100%.
Yeah, I don't care.
I try to go like tonight.
Weave it in.
I weaved it in. I'm
a weaver.
Yeah, I'm a beweaver.
Well,
Yeah.
I'm a weaver just because I'm still like, I don't want to lose because God forbid if Adam walks in. Like he watched my set the other night, and I'm like, fuck. And he goes, oh, good set. And I was like, oh, thank God. But you never know. It could be, I still feel nervous. Like I'm going to get fired.
But we all do.
I guess so. Yeah, you live on that edge.
I think we all do. I mean,
There's some people that don't. Some people just don't give a shit.
But I still have that feeling also that when my agent says, hey, do you want to take this big gig? I always have that feeling like this could be the last gig I ever get.
Oh, yeah.
Take it.
Yes.
Take that fucking gig.
Yes.
I still do.
That's crazy.
He was like, are you sure? I'm like, take it. He's like,
I don't
you're
wanna
working
ever
8 weeks in a row.
yeah.
Doesn't matter.
Yep.
Take it. Take it. Take it. Take it.
I
take
get
it.
Mm-hmm.
like that.
Interesting.
I'll say, and I'm like, oh.
I got to. I got to, because there's somebody younger, funnier,
hungrier.
Well, also like I need the money. So I'm
Right.
like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Where I'm like, I don't want to do it, but I'm at that point now where there's certain stuff I've been saying no to, and if that feels pretty good,
Yeah.
But then if it's like enough money to be where I'm like, all right, because I don't know, if that this could be the last offer I ever get.
I still have that mentality.
Mm-hmm.
I still have the working for chicken fingers mentality.
Yeah.
Yes. When I saw Seinfeld, the
I
documentary,
love that. Working for
Yeah, I do.
Yeah, I remember when Seinfeld and Leno got together for that comedian documentary like 20 years ago.
Yeah.
And Leno said that he never spent any of his Tonight Show money. As an open mic comic watching that, I'm like, this guy's crazy.
Yeah.
But now 20 years into comedy, I'm like, oh yeah, I wouldn't spend that money either.
Got it. Yeah.
I'd go, I'm going to live off my stand-up, and now I have retirement just in case everybody takes everything from me.
Oh yeah, because it could all fall
apart. In this business, it can too.
Yeah, but the one great thing about what we do is you can't fire us from this. You can't fire me from being a stand-up.
Right.
Now, I may not always be able to
lose.
Yes. And I may not always be able to play the rooms that I'm playing
And
now
the money,
and all that stuff.
our money's the only money that goes down versus up.
Yeah, it's true.
No matter what.
Do you see Tom Segura, what he tweeted out a couple weeks ago? That MC and feature money hasn't gone up into the clubs in 25 years.
That's right. Like they still give you most headliners.
That's crazy.
Bump it up, but it's true. They pay you $100.
$100 to feature, which means you could be 20 years in the game, dedicated your whole life to stand up, and there's somebody that got hired that day that never waited on a table in their life, and they're going to bring drinks to the table of your show, and they're going to walk with more money than you did.
That's right.
That is bananas.
Walking in off the street, I've never cocktailed before. Just pull out your boobies and put drinks on the table.
Hey.
She'll make
It takes
300
a little more than that, but yeah.
But you know what I mean? Like, it could happen.
But even worse, somebody who's been doing stand-up for 2 years, because the clubs in general, look, if the guy has been there for 2 years says, I'll do the set, I'll do it for 75 a set.
Right.
Yep.
The clubs really don't care about the MC and the feature. They just want them not to be offensive. Don't walk people.
Yep.
And just get to the headliner.
And give our things for next week.
Yep.
You know.
Yeah.
Yeah, because some people view it as a business and some people view it as an art. Like, that's why I love Wendy at Comedy Works.
Oh, she's terrific.
She's the greatest.
Yeah.
Because she cares so much. Her shows are always awesome.
Colleen in Omaha, Nebraska at the Funny Bone.
I don't know her.
I've heard of her. I've
Colleen
never
is so
puts together good shows and
cares. She
You
cares.
can't
She
make people to
cares.
care.
But you're right. But you know what? I like Dorfman in Nashville. I like the guys who
Those guys are cool.
Yep, I like,
and they care about comedy as
Yes,
well. Like
you have
Chris
to.
DePetta, those guys.
I think
like,
anybody that really stays in the business, you have to.
I like Matt and Joel who do the improvs and I like what are the people who do the House of Comedy?
Oh,
people?
Tammy and Rick
the
Bronson.
The Bronsons are the greatest.
So good.
So happy I've got into them.
But you know,
I mean, I'm
awesome.
in their little.
Because Tammy was like, "Hey,
she's awesome.
I'm gonna let you." She goes, "You're funny. Nobody knows who you are yet.
Come
we're
to my
gonna
show."
build it."
Yes,
yeah. Wendy
I love
told me the
that.
same thing. I like women that run comedy clubs. To be honest with you.
Well, I met Wendy years ago with Dice, and she was like, "You're hilarious. Why don't you?" And then I'm like, so I'm still trying to get in her good graces. But
she's great.
Yeah, soon I hope. I love her.
She reminds me of Mitzi.
Yeah, because she just
knows.
talking to her, she knew her shit, and she knew about comics. See, that's another thing. Like, my history is so much comedy.
Yeah.
Like, whatever I get into a conversation about comedy, it's like it could go really deep because I've been here so goddamn long. But technically, I've only been doing stand up a little over 12 years.
But you soaked so
Oh,
much
of course.
in, right?
It's like Mitzi would say to me, like, well, you went to the best college, honey.
Did you?
Like, oh, yeah.
Do you feel like you?
But I didn't
started
think of that.
further ahead than you would have just by watching.
No, I think when you start late is how you, because I had so much life experience no matter what.
But didn't
you
not
talked about your material right out of the gate. You weren't doing open micer material. You're already talking about your dad and swabbing the deck.
Right.
Like,
you knew the bad habits.
Yes.
And what not to do.
Well, but I could catch myself falling into those, and I was like, oh, that's why they fall into them. So I had to learn those lessons
really
of what
cool.
those guys had to go, or what those comics went through on stage every night, because we had comics that would do the same 15 minutes. And then with those ones we loved where we'd run in the room like, oh, so-and-so's on, we have to go watch, because, Holtzman's on, let's go watch what
Holtzman,
fucking nightmare, or not nightmare, is going to happen.
Holtzman.
So unbelievable.
awesome.
But always, Joe Diaz, so you wanted to run in and see those guys. But then, like, I remember the few people that would do, there was this one guy always did his same 15 minutes, and nobody was here to go on after him. And the manager, I was like, just stretch him. And the manager looked at me and he's like, what are you going to do? Let him start over? And I was like, if that happens, let's see if it happens.
I've done that.
Start over?
Okay.
Shut up.
So I was.
What does that even mean?
I was 23. I was in New York, upstate. I had left college.
How long are you doing stand up?
Wait.
Okay.
So I need to get money to get from New York to Seattle. And I don't have enough dough.
A lot of money.
I'm trying to make some money. I'm scraping up money wherever I can. I'm eating lunch at a bar. I've been out putting in job applications. And behind the bar, there's an elevated stage. You know those bars that have, right? And there's a stool. And I say to the guy, I go, what do you do up here? And he goes, well, we usually play like
Music.
And I go, oh. And he goes, yeah, but our guy who plays, he said he was like he just left for LA, so we don't have anybody.
Was it
right
Tommy?
Let's say.
How did they? How great. Do you ever think about that? You have to feel your way. Like, how great would it be, though? Like, do you ever think...
It would just be shit.
Do you ever sometimes think, though, that God runs out of extras in your life? Like, that could have been Tommy, and then 15 years later, like,
He's here.
There's that news van again.
So good. Channel 6.
Now the fanatic got hit by the news van. Cover the kid's eyes. The fanatic's bleeding out. He's bleeding out.
He's bleeding green.
Yeah.
We thought it was red, but it's green.
Fly, eagles fly. He bled green.
Anyway, sorry. That was amazing. So you have to get to New York to Seattle.
So I say to the guy, and he goes, "We do acoustic," and I go, "Oh," I go, "How much does that pay?" And he goes, $250.
Whoa.
I said, "Have you found anybody?" And he said, "No." And he said, "Do you play guitar?" Which I did not. I said, "Yeah."
Oh.
And he said, "When can you start?" Now, I played a little guitar, like I had learned to play 3 songs in college. And he goes, "When can you start?" I go, "How long is the show?" And he goes, 2 hours. And I was like, "Yeah, I can start in 3 weeks." And he goes, "Okay." I figure in 3 weeks, this was the plan. You ready?
Cue Rocky montage music.
You ready? You ready for the plan? The plan was to and this was pre-Google, where I could just, and I knew 3 chords, C, D, and G. So I couldn't just Google C, D, G songs. Mm-hmm. I had to just try to figure them out. And so I write them down. So or get some sheet music, right? So this was my plan.
This is something I could never do.
My plan was to learn 8 songs, 10 max. I was going to start 5 minutes late. I was going to end 5 minutes early, and I was going to practice my stand-up in between every song.
Okay.
I was going to tell stories, right? Because this is what I've always liked to do, is tell stories, right? So I get there, I got my sheet music, and I got my guitar, and 3 weeks later, and I have tentatively learned 10 songs. But honestly, 5 of them I know pretty well by heart. 5, I need the music. And so I get up there, and I'm walking in, and he goes, "Hey, what's with the paper?" I go, "This is the songs." He goes, No. Clean stage. We don't have anything up there."
Oh, boy.
And I went, "Oh, no." And he goes, No.
I'm already getting uncomfortable.
He goes, "No."
Yeah, my stomach.
He goes, No paper. And I go, "Oh, okay." He goes, "Just a stool and the plug-in and the mic." And I go, "Okay." So I get up there, and I start talking.
I'm
and
scared for you.
I go, "How's everybody doing tonight?" "Hey, my name's Josh, and funny thing about this." And he goes, whoa. He goes,
No funny things.
"No talking. Your background, no talking. Just play. I just need you to play. Please don't talk between the songs. Just play and let people drink, and you're just background." So I get 2 hours and 5 songs.
Oh
my God.
my God.
So I open with Freebird.
That's a long song.
As you do. I get through my first
Isn't
5.
that usually a closer?
Well, you ready for
Okay.
this? I wanted to leave with my best foot forward. I get
Open strong.
Open strong. 5 songs, and then I just start Freebird again. Now, listen. So nobody noticed the second time. I could see people, because they weren't really paying attention to me,
Right.
And it was transient. So you know what I mean.
Yeah.
So I could see some people, like, by the 3rd time through, everybody had started to catch up. And they started to look at me, and the guy who hired me looked at me, and I just shrugged my shoulders like, this is what I got, right? By the 4th time through, people were screaming out, "Do you take suggestions?" I'm like, "What do you got?" And they were like, "Freebird." I'm like, "I know that one." And I would play it, but it ended up being
a joke.
a
funny.
joke. And I would play the 5 songs. People were singing along to all the
dude,
songs
that's
at the end.
It's a happy ending.
So I say to the guy,
So happy.
I go, "Great show, right?" I'm psyched.
Yeah.
This is going to be a regular gig. I go, "Great show, right?" He goes, "No, that was the worst show I've ever had here." I go, "What do you mean?" He goes, "You played the same 5 songs for 2 hours and not well." And I was like, "Well," I go, "but everybody had a good time." He goes, "I didn't." And I go, "Okay." I go, "Well, I thought it'd be funny." He goes, "Not funny." And he handed me $100. I go, "It's supposed to be $250." He goes, "You owe me $150 for that." We're playing the same 5 songs.
$100 is still pretty good.
$100, dude. And you know what?
In the 90s, $100.
One of my favorite stories, because it taught me on stage.
You owe me $150.
Dude,
it taught
I
me on
love you so
stage,
much.
though.
I'm feeling it along with
Yeah.
you. Where you're like,
But
$250.
Here's
I'm
what
going
it
towards
is.
my dream.
You remember the first time you bombed?
Oh, yeah.
And do you remember, like, I'll never recover from this?
Yeah.
And you remember you woke up the next day and you were like, oh,
I'm awake.
everything's fine.
Yeah.
That's what that did to me.
Yeah.
It was pretty humiliating.
Mm-hmm.
But I woke up the next day like, that's a great story. And here I am.
That's awesome.
That
Do you know what I
is
mean?
awesome.
Like
he got through it.
what else?
Yeah.
What else?
So that's a great feeling.
Yeah.
That's when you start going, okay,
Yeah.
this is how life works.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I got knocked down, but guess what? I bombed so bad once in front of 1,000 people. I had an out of body experience. Like
Where
I
was it?
saw,
Where?
4th and B in San Diego. They used to do Friday night comedy, papered the rooms. Like 800 people would get in there
Whoa.
for free.
You never did that one?
No, I don't know it.
That
800
was-
drunk cholos.
It was a raucous,
I would love that.
raucous crowd.
I got
Raucous.
booed off stage.
Yeah.
I see myself bombing.
Okay.
And I don't know why, but for whatever reason, I always feel like I had done bad before and I had bombed before, but never booed off stage. There are levels to bombing.
I did.
You've been booed off stage?
Now, did you have this thought that somebody was just going to stand up and say, get him, and everybody was going to run towards you? Because that's
No,
what I
I did
was
not.
thinking. Like, I was like, this is as bad as it gets. People are standing up. I'm like, they're going to start throwing stuff. I'm like, this is terrible.
I didn't panic like that. I mean, I panicked.
Where were you? Where was yours?
Westbury Music Fair in the round.
In the
Bombing in the round. We'll be back to bombing in the round.
Bombing
with the-
in the round.
bombing in the
When
round.
you
Bombing in the round is the
When you have people hating you from the sides.
around.
Now you're talking about her sister's soundtrack.
That's right. Back to Karen, because my big
Her
sister.
horse is here. I believe my ride's here. Pa Ingalls.
wait.
My big sister came to see this, by the way. 'Cause this was me 3 months into comedy, opening for Dice in Westbury, Long Island, at the music fair.
3 months into comedy?
I had done 2 gigs in California. We did the Wells Fargo Center, which is 2,500 people.
Wow.
Yeah.
3 months in. Who do I think I am? And then in Reading, 1,000 people. Great. We were on VH1 at the time. So the show, like, people knew me from
Oh,
the show.
cool.
Right.
So that's what Dice said. He goes, dude, first of all, he came to see me do what I thought was a one-woman show in the belly room, because that's what I thought I was doing in the beginning. And then he saw it, and he's like, it's stand-up, stupid. So he made me, because he's a gentleman.
Yeah.
And he was like, just let's go on the road and promote the VH1 show. So I was like, okay. And I'm like, who am I? That's why I had to take Adam Barnhart's class. He helped me so much.
Right.
Like, because it was awful. I had a month to get this together to go out on the road.
How long was your set?
So I had 8 minutes
When did they start booing?
in New York, because in LA it went fine.
Uh-huh. Yeah, when did they
And-
start booing in New York?
In New York, as soon as I came out and said I'm from Philadelphia,
Oh, yeah.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah.
seconds into it. So it's packed, right? And Andrew was like, you got to start dressing sexy on stage, show them your tough attitude, wear short shorts. I'm like, short shorts? What? But I'm an idiot and believed him because I thought he knew something about costuming.
Right.
So I wore short shorts, high boots, a cute little top, and I come out and I'm all South Philly, whatever. And I said Philadelphia, and they were like, fuck Philly, fuck the Eagles. And I'm like, what? Then they're yelling. I'm trying to do my little bit about this and that. And I'm like, oh, shit, these motherfuckers, right? And you know, I'm a hood rat, like my brain. I'm a street fighter. So I was like, the fuck? And then somebody goes, I heard somebody yell, where's Dice? And I was like, he's up my ass. You want to tickle his feet? Because I just
And they loved it.
lost it. A few people. The rest of them were like, boo, fuck you, the Eagles stink, Philly, la, la, la.
7 minutes.
Yeah.
I was like,
It was like that. But it was so bad. I started sweating.
Yeah.
That my bra slid down.
No.
It was on my stomach.
That much sweat?
It was so bad. Then I remember locking eyes, like seeing my sister who drove 2.5 hours up from South Philly.
Did she have the broken look in her eyes
This
like
is-
Frank Pentangeli's brother when he was about to be called on the witness stand?
It was worse than that. This is what she did. She literally threw her hands up and was like, what do you want to do? Fight this whole fucking room?
Oh, that's great.
And my sister was a hardcore, so she was just like, I'll start writing the section.
That's great.
Yeah.
But that's how she looked at me, like, what do you want to do?
That's why family's the
And
best.
I was like, fuck.
Family is the best.
And then it made me giggle. I got off stage, and Andrew was like, fuck them. I'm not going out there. How dare they boo you? And I'm like, Andrew, they're here to see you,
Yeah.
not me. And then I was like, all strong for him. I'm like, they love you. Go out there. They're going to have a blast. And I'm upstairs chewing on a revolver 30
Yeah.
seconds later.
Yeah.
But I was like, Oh my God. I called my mom. I locked myself in the bathroom. I called my mom. I was hysterical crying. My brother Tommy got on the phone. He's like, calm down. They're both talking to me. They're like, relax. This is how it happens. You know,
Yeah, but it's humiliating.
It's humiliating. But once
is.
you get through it, you're like, okay, this is just part of it. Like you learned it that night. I learned it my night. You learned it that. You just
I
go,
learned-
Who were you there with when you were doing it?
I don't even remember.
Did you guys get booed the next night? Just asking for a friend.
No.
I for sure have.
I just got in my car and left.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
But the craziest thing is, there was a guy, like the stage manager's going, get off. He goes, I'll still pay you. Just get off.
Oh shit.
And when my soul came back into my body and I realized nobody was going to beat me up, I really started to enjoy it. I was like, I don't give a shit and whatever. And the guy's like, dude, I'll just pay you because they were going to do an intermission before. But then I was backstage kind of laughing about it. Like, so it really happens. Because I had bombed before, but never that bad.
Right.
But there was somebody that when the stage manager came back with his check, he goes, dude, this guy wants you to give him a call. He thought you were fucking funny. And it was like one of those like skateboarder surf company.
Oh, that's awesome.
But I never called.
And his name was Tony Hawk.
Yeah, it could have been. And that man's name, there's not a statue.
Not a plaque.
Yeah, but if that were to happen to me now and I had a bad set and somebody gave me a business card afterwards, I'd be like,
I would call.
I'll totally call.
Yeah.
But I was so embarrassed. Like I got through it. But after that, I just started to do exactly what I wanted to do on stage because I was like, it's not that bad.
Well, it's
not that bad.
You're right. And then it's like, it puts that fight in you like, okay, that'll never happen again. Even though it happened the next night, I kept saying it'll never happen again. But I did better the next night. Even though, because that's the thing, like I went out into the audience after I calmed down. I was like, let me look for my sister or whatever. Yeah. So, plus I wanted to see the theater. I'd never seen it. I mean, I just heard it. So I was like, let me walk around. And some guy walked past me and he goes, oh, hey, you were great. Sorry, we had to boo you because we really wanted Dice to come out. And I was like,
it's interesting, though.
If they see you after, they're nice to you.
Yeah, there's also a psychology to it,
but
too.
I'm like, well, then why did you do that
gang
to a
mentality.
person?
It is.
Gang mentality.
Or like
Initiation.
I remember one
Yeah.
doing terrible. I remember it doing terrible. I didn't get booed off stage, but it was terrible. And I ran into somebody that was at that show like a year later. They were like, you were great. And I'm like, no, I wasn't. I remember. But then a year later, they still knew my bits.
You know what else, though?
And I went, okay, there's just a psychology to audiences.
Even
We
now,
hear it a certain way.
Yeah, and even now, look, I don't bomb the way I used to.
Got it.
But there are still sets where I'm like, that wasn't great.
Oh,
do you know what I mean? Like,
for sure.
That wasn't great. And so
whenever I think I'm getting it, I'm like, I'm about to blow up.
Yeah.
I'll go bomb.
Yeah.
And I just won't connect. And I'm like, here's something from 3 years ago.
Yeah.
Or
doesn't
did you
work.
ever try every trick?
Yep.
You go through your bag and you're like, you're on your last trick. You're like,
Dude, I'll walk on stage now,
nothing
though.
worked.
I go, you know what? This isn't my crowd. Like,
Do
if
you
I get the
know-
douchey people, I go, all right, it's not my crowd. I don't care.
For me, this is where, see, I tell long stories, right?
Yep.
Okay.
So there are times up here in this room where I'll know I'm trying this. There's no way to break it up. This is a 13-minute
You
story.
got to put those fire exits in there, though. I learned that.
13-minute story.
You have to have fire exits where you're like, you know what? I got to spin out of it and to get into this.
But for me,
Fire exits.
For me,
fire exits.
the only way for me to get that 13-minute story better is to just fucking do it.
Yeah, sitting there.
And so I honestly would rather do it here than in front of the crowd that paid to see me.
Got it. Because this is like,
Don't you think it would almost...
Yeah. I look at this the way that Mitzi kind of set it up. Like it's a gym.
workshop.
It's a gym. It's a gym. Come work out.
But don't you think your fans know who you are, love what you do, and it's going to be pretty good regardless?
Yes. So, but I'll get a false sense.
Regardless.
I'll get a false sense of what's funny in front of them. So if I tell a 13-minute story in front of them, they're gonna laugh.
feel it.
Yeah.
They're gonna laugh in parts because they know me, which may not mean that joke is that well. They just know me.
Gotcha. So you want to make sure you're giving them the best version.
I want
Right.
to. This place is going to make sure this place
get-
does not allow me shortcuts.
Yeah.
Right.
The OR is not filled with people who want to see me. The main room is not there with people who want to see me. So I have to earn my jokes here,
Absolutely.
right? And so that to me, that's why I don't want to do it in front of my crowd because I've already earned that trust from them. So they're going to be more forgiving.
Yeah.
And
like,
there are some things that they know that from my personality, because they know my stand-up,
Yeah.
that they're gonna laugh at.
Yeah, like Stanhope was here, and I said, "Oh, are you going on?" Because I love Doug Stanhope.
Yeah.
He's great, and he goes, "No," and I go, "Why?" And he goes, "You think I'm going to go up in the original room and lose my confidence? That's not my crowd.
Yeah.
I don't know who they are.
Yeah.
I don't know who they came to see.
Yeah.
What if they don't like me?"
I've
But I
seen
love lose my confidence.
One of my
after
favorite-
30 years in
I
the
know.
business.
Yep.
And being one of the greatest
Legend.
ever.
Okay.
Legend.
One of my favorite jokes ever that he
Brilliant.
ever told. You know, I used to run this room down the street called at the Union. Remember the
Yeah,
Union?
yeah,
Yeah.
of course. Oh, I forgot about that.
And to me, it was a fucking killer room. It was never air conditioned, so it was hot.
Okay.
And it was just one of those places where nobody cared. The energy was fucking great. I saw Rogan in that room. I've never seen a roof get blown like that. But Stanhope did a joke one night where he said, "So I was I told my girlfriend that I wanted to titty fuck her, and she said, 'How are you gonna make that feel good for me?' And he said, 'I'll tell you what. Right before I'm about to come, I'll stop punching you in the face.'"
I can't. I can't. I hate him.
Yo, when he said that, I was like, "Come on, everybody! Funniest joke ever said
What?
out loud. I'll stop punching you in the face."
Fuck.
Oh my God.
Yo,
I was obsessed.
Were you part of Stanhope's crew? He told a story on Ari's show. It was one of the funniest things I've ever seen about hanging out at the Coach and Horses with Ralphie May. And I'm like,
I
because
saw
I'm
him
a
in there
comedy
a couple
fan.
times, but I know this story, and I wasn't there that
No,
night.
well,
But
I'm
I
just
used
saying,
to hang at Coach and Horses.
What I
all
find
the time.
fascinating is that, I still find it fascinating that you're in Seattle. You're four kids that just want to start doing comedy. You're nowhere near LA. You're nowhere near New York. And it's Joey Diaz and Brody Stevens. And then there's two young comics hanging out at the Coach and Horses getting wasted. And it's Ralphie May and Doug Stanhope. Like, that stuff to me as a comedy fan is
giant.
fascinating.
Yeah.
It's fascinating.
but I think it's important to have a good crew.
yes.
This is a hard thing
it's a team
to do
sport.
on
Took
your
me
own.
forever to realize
Because it's
a
a
team
long
sport.
time, too.
Yep.
Yeah, but also as young comics
You need the support.
and the crew. Look, if you're not asking your friends, "Hey, let's write some jokes," or "Let's punch some shit up," especially when you're younger, that's
Yeah.
because those people see jokes in a different way than you do. And
Yeah.
as a young comedian, you need to learn that there are different ways to get to the joke.
I wouldn't have survived 19 years. September, it'll be 19 years in LA. Would not have survived without Renazizi and Ari.
Yeah.
It just wouldn't have happened.
yeah.
Yeah.
There's no way I could have, that Comedy Store, thank God for Mitzi creating this place and letting me be a part of it. Even though it took me 8 years to get past as a comic,
Yeah.
just banging my head in
But
the walls.
some of our best friends.
They were the best friends I made. And there were times where I didn't have money for food and Freddie Soto would take me to eat, or Rogan would take me to eat, or Ari would be like, "I just booked a commercial. When was the last time you had Chinese food?" And I'm like,
Yeah.
I don't know, 2 years?
Renazizi
We're getting-
would be like, "I'm the headliner. I'll take you out." And we'd be like,
Dude.
"Hey."
Dude, the car I drive Renazizi gave me.
That's amazing.
He was just like, "Here, just take it."
Yeah. I there's such and nothing showed the camaraderie of comedy more than, to me, than the memorial here for Brody.
Oh, yeah.
It was really so far reaching, but there was such a common bond in that room. Not just Brody, but comedy.
Yeah.
Liking Brody made me feel like I was a comedian. I remember him crippling me with laughter and noticing it was just the comedians that he was really killing.
Yeah, yeah.
And I went, "Oh, I get comedy.
Yeah.
I get Brody. I get
Yeah.
comedy."
He was so fucking funny.
I don't think he loved the fact that he made comics laugh that much, but he didn't make the general public laugh as much.
Yeah, that was a big insecurity of his.
It was.
I remember coming back from Minnesota, and he goes, "Where were you?" And it was a Monday night. We were signing up upstairs, and he goes, "I go, oh, I was in Minnesota," and he goes, "Do you think they would get me?" This was
He
in
was so
January.
insecure about that. He was so
Yeah.
insecure about that.
And I go, "Brody, they would love you.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
have to get in with these people. If you want me to push, I will. I just got in with them, but I'll push."
But he's okay. So I also had a chance to know Mitch Hedberg a little bit.
Oh, okay.
And so Mitch told me once.
Mitch, I didn't know at all.
He told me once he was I think the term he used was 15%er. And I would call Brody the same thing. And I go, I said, what do you mean by that? And he said, if I walk into a crowd and people don't, like it's a show that people don't know I'm going to be on, I'm going to get 15% of the crowd are going to get me. 85% of the crowd are going to hate me. Now I just need to get those 15% together.
Yep.
That was his thing. I know that not everybody's
exactly
going to get me,
Yeah.
but I need to get everybody who gets me together. Same thing with Brody. Brody, look, nobody crushed like he did, but nobody bombed like he did. There was no
Same as Holtzman,
right.
yeah.
There was no. I kind of like that guy. You're either I fucking love this guy, or that's the worst comedy I've ever seen. If you read his comments from his special, that's what it was.
Get it.
Yeah.
And they didn't get it.
They don't get me at all. And he would just run off.
Yeah, because
Arms crossed negative.
he turned facts into jokes. His GPA.
Yeah. I was like, it's a statement. He's making a statement.
Yes.
It's amazing. And people are floored by it.
Dude, I remember, because it's just so funny, your Seattle crew, two of the hardest times I've ever laughed in the original room were the first time I saw Brody, and Brody's murdering. The audience, everybody's into it.
Yeah.
And it was probably 15, 16 years ago. And everybody that was, all the waitresses, all the we're all in the back, but the audience kind of gets it. And it was the Comedy Store 10, 15 years ago, smaller audience. But it was magic in the room, and Brody's in the middle of killing, and he just started trying to start another joke, and it wouldn't really land hard, and he was getting it, and he was like, I'm sorry, I can't do this. And we all were. You could hear a pin drop. He goes, I got some really bad news this week. And now that everybody's leaning in, he goes, my grandfather was just diagnosed with Down syndrome. Like that. And it was like, boom!
My favorite joke.
That, I remember the first time I saw that. And then I remember one of the hardest times I ever left was when Joey Diaz within the last year. Joey, it's always been my favorite here. He's always just crushed.
Yeah.
I've always just got him. I remember seeing him
Even
go
when
up
he
in
was
the main
doing
room.
the Cuban egg roll.
Oh, and
the
he
fucking
greatest.
babysitter.
And
my
taking
God.
off his jean jacket and throw it to the ground when Danny would let him go up late in the main room and they're just playing Black Sabbath. Like, we'll always love Joey. But when in the past year when he was like, did that joke, first time I heard him say it, he was like, you don't see me catching the flu? It's because I eat my wife's ass and I went swimming in the Hudson.
Yeah.
Dude, it was like...
I went swimming.
In the Hudson. Yeah. He said, I'm good.
It was like watching Nazis walk into a trap, and the GIs just had explosives all along the OR was shaking like Tower 2, like right before it fell. Like I've never seen that room rock like that. No,
It's very rare to see it that hard like that. And
he's the one that does it consistently.
Yep. You're absolutely right. I was just going to say that he's one of the top guys.
I've never seen anybody rock that room, but I saw Earthquake do it once because I had to follow him during a show.
Yeah.
Always funny.
What'd you say? How'd you follow him?
Oh, it was terrible. It was. I had
You weren't riding a wave that time.
I got wiped out by the wave.
You know who else can do it? What's his name? Donnell Rawlings.
Yeah.
He rocks that OR.
Does he?
He kicks that OR's ass because I'll never forget Holtzman watching. What? He's killing. What? What am I gonna do? No, they're not gonna like me. What do I say?
God,
and I go,
Holtzman
Brian,
funny.
you have to
Just
stop paying
come on.
attention.
Yeah, dude, Holtzman, just do your thing, man.
And then he would go dig a hole.
Do
And
you
it was
remember
awful.
when he did? Remember when that plane? There was a plane that crashed, and I forget which plane it was, but it crashed in the ocean, and he started doing jokes about why he doesn't think it's so bad to go steal the money out of those people's wallets. Because the money's going to go to waste. You know what I mean? Like, who else is going to spend that money?
Well, who's going to take it?
Yeah.
You're going to save it for the EMT?
I was managing this club
Yeah.
during 9/11.
Still feel bad about that.
And Mitzi told me specifically, Brian is not allowed to go on.
Is that true?
Because of Columbine. When that happened, he went on, he goes, everybody's upset. There was kids in the building. There's kids. Yeah, they were bad kids. They weren't putting their heads down at nap time. They were drinking the chemicals under the sink. The place was furious. Everybody was furious.
Yeah.
We got 50 letters saying this is awful. He can't do this.
Can't let
Brian.
Brian on stage.
Oh,
okay.
my.
Meanwhile, she put
And
wow
then-
on the marquee. Remember that? That was all she put.
For what?
after 9/11.
Wow.
It just said wow for like a week.
And then she let him go on. And the Holtzman's first set in the original room post 9/11, where he talked about just throwing Arab American comedians into a cage.
No.
Oh, yeah.
No.
Hey, there's some of them here. They seem like good kids. Amid. Archon Cater. He seems like a nice kid, but you can't trust him. Get in the pen. They have better careers than me. I don't. In the pen. Get in the cage. The roof. The walls were like people, like it was people couldn't believe what they were watching.
Amid was so fucking great.
Oh my
yeah,
God,
you're late.
so
I gotta go do my
like,
set.
I don't know where. They're
gotta do
not
my
coming
set.
down.
I love you guys.
They're
Have a
looking for
great
him.
set.
Oh, they're saying you got 10 minutes.
Still get up.
Okay, we'll wrap it up. We'll wrap it up right now. So
Dude, you are the man.
Josh, thank you so
you,
much
thank you.
for joining us. You're the best.
So many laughs.
So many laughs. Go kill it upstairs. No, I love him.
He's the best.
Yeah, that I remember that. I also remember him going on after the stupid sexual harassment stuff, the Harvey Weinstein, and that night of it came out, and for Adam already had it booked. We didn't know that was going to come out.
The best was when we were young comics, and as soon as like you could talk to Mr. Holtzman, and you're like, okay. Like I remember Harris
I love
Pete.
Mr. Holtzman.
I remember Harris Pete talking to me for the first time. He's like, I never ask anybody the name unless they've been here for 2 years.
Right.
Right? So then when Harris started to get it, and then Holtzman, and we're all fans. We're all door guy. We loved him. He's the guy. And we're like, I wonder what his material was like during the OJ thing. And just him explaining his version, where he was like, it was kind of like he rushed for 2,000 yards, and she was just another coke-whore blonde.
Yeah.
That sort of thing.
Pretty
you could just see
harsh.
the joke.
So great. Holtzman always gets right on the news. Just kidding.
He's great.
I'm up on things. I know what's going on. When I had him as my guest co-host a couple weeks ago, if you're like ever feeling down, just watch that, because I have no control. And we got Brian Scalaro, who we're supposed to be interviewing. Holtzman's here, and he brought his brother Jay.
Oh,
for
that's
no reason.
so great.
So Scalaro is like, "Who are you?" to the brother. "Do you do comedy?" And Jay's saying nothing, and Holtzman's like, "That's my brother Jay. Brother Jay's here." And then I'm trying to like interview Scalaro. Holtzman's here. I turn to look at him, and he's staring at me, and I'm like, "Are you okay?" And he's like, "I never knew you had such hazel eyes."
Dude, I love his Instagram videos. Today, I'm going to have the tandoori chicken. I'm going to put a little
Did you see
spice
the firework one today?
No.
Thank God it's Wednesday. Tomorrow is 4th of July. Let's try to not lose any digits. Keep your fingers intact. Right here's a sparkler. One of the most dangerous sparklers of them all. You could burn your eyebrows off. You don't want to use this. And he's just going through every firework. M80, make sure you know how to use this one.
Does he have them?
Oh, yeah. In the video. I'm
I
dying.
can't wait to see it.
Anyway, thank you so much
Thank
for being
you.
the
This was
guest.
the best.
And congrats on your album. Just
Thank you. Yeah.
killing it.
Yeah.
And so it's still number one.
It's not number one anymore, but
But
you know what was
still-
crazy?
it was
so
up
many
there
people
for a
bought.
while.
Yeah, so many people bought that one that my old one started to sell.
Oh, that's great, Steve.
Yeah.
See, I love that. See, you're one of the funniest. I remember when you were a manager, and I thought, oh no, they're not going to let him be a comic. It scared me.
Yeah.
Which is why
I got out of it, but Mitzi knew what she was doing.
Yeah, she always liked you.
Yeah. Well, she tortured me.
That's what she
But like
does.
when I saw the Shanling thing, his letters home,
You're
I'm
like,
like, yeah, come
oh.
on, man.
I
I loved her.
I loved when he would write Shanley in the video when he would write home.
I hate her. So funny.
I just love that
she's so mean.
anytime he
Tough
saw
love.
her, that he would just be like, still defeated. Up
Dude,
until
one of my favorite memories was taking her to the doctor, and he was there.
yeah, we did a
And then
doctor run too with him.
They talked for like 3-4 hours.
Oh, I didn't have that long, but I
Dude, I
remember
just
him
sat
being
there
like,
the whole time. He was like, "What? She's here?" I was like, "Yeah." He's like,
But right here in the hallway, before he was going to do the Emmys, host the
Mm-hmm.
Emmys, he was just looking in the main room, like kind of like nervous. And then Mitzi walked up and he went, oh, like his, I saw his defeat.
Dude, I
was
remember
like,
a very
whoa.
famous comic at the peak of their powers who wasn't here often, had planned on going on in the OR. And then somebody said, yeah, well, we got to get Mitzi needs her period. And he was like, what? Mitzi's here? And they're like, yeah, she's in her chair. She's going to be happy to see you. And he was like, I don't need to go on.
I'll wait.
Yeah, I'm not going to say who it was, but
Oh, please do. We have a disclaimer.
nope,
All right.
it's the best.
He won't give it up. That's Philly through and through, people.
Yep.
You have anything to plug? We didn't even ask Josh Wolf. Go to Josh Wolf. I'm assuming joshwolf.com for his. I'm terrible at life. Josh, you want to come in and promote your stuff? I always let Josh promote his
He's the
stuff.
greatest.
He's the sweetest guy in the world. Do you have dates coming up?
You know what? I'm starting a whole new charity thing with all things comedy, and it's just called helpstevehelp.com.
That's amazing. I'm in Kansas City this weekend.
Nice.
The comedy club. You have to do it. I'll give him your info because he's cool as shit, Dustin.
Cool.
And I'm excited about that. Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Happy 4th of July.
Yeah, Virginia Beach, 10th through the 14th, and the comedy marathon for Virginia Beach Strong at the Virginia Beach Funny Bone is to help the families the shooting that happened out there.
Oh,
so
yeah,
it's
you said
pretty,
that.
yeah, it's pretty crazy. But
Please go support that if you're out there.
and then if there's any questions, concerns about sound or anything that I can help with, please inbox me at
Are you
Josh96
really
O'Brien.
going to take that?
Yes, I will.
Okay, guys, you heard him.
I will.
If you don't like
Get it
the
off their
sound,
plates,
if
send it
I'm
my
in
way.
the dark, whatever it is, send them to him.
And that way, just block you. It works out perfect. I mean, I'll help with what I can.
You piece of shit. All right. Thank you guys for listening. Support live comedy. Rate and subscribe. Bye.
How are you, buddy?
Good, brother.
I haven't seen you forever.
Yeah.
Thank you.
No worries. And
So we're going to put this out.
whenever.
No, this one.
This one now.
Not Danish.
Okay.
Yes.
All right.
Because I forget what Josh wanted to promote.